Okay.
Konnichiwa, cześć, ciao, hi, bonjour, salam, hola, oa, привет, marhaba, zdravo, annyeonghaseyo, hujambo, ni hao, merhaba. The Olympics are here, and this is Volleyball Explained Podcast. Guys, are you ready for the Olympics?
Yep.
I don't, but yes. Let's see what. Let's enjoy at least some quality event. And congratulations, by the way, Nicola, for the a long,
Yeah.
long-awaited title in the Euro Cup. So yes, we are ready.
Today, our let's say schedule is to make a slight or not that slight commentary on the squads of the teams. Firstly, about the men's tournament, and then about the women's one. And I believe that it's a very appropriate thing to do to start with the, let's say, at least on paper, the tougher group in the men's tournament. And we can start with the Brazilian team, which won the VNL. Uh, I don't think there are some surprises in the team, in the roster, in the 12 people who are going to be there in Tokyo. And actually, I believe that they are there already, the Brazilian team. So, first question probably, can Brazil keep their form from VNL going into the Olympics?
Nicola, please help me.
Well, that's the biggest question mark. And this is a question that could also be asked the other way around. How will perform the teams that didn't play in the VNL in the Olympics? I think that the Brazilians are a team that has been tested for the past 3 months, so they pretty much know how to use their energy in the tournament. And I think that they will keep their good momentum from the VNL that has been a long time waiting for that goal in the VNL into the Olympics. To me, right now, they're the favorite for the gold. So I think Brazil will push it since the first game.
Well,
Um,
I will say that we will have to not look so much into what can give Brazil, but the other teams, because the BNL was like a testing ground. No team, even the big ones, didn't take it too serious because they were testing all the tournament players and lineups, and like Poland, like Russia, USA maybe use Matthew Anderson 3 or 4 games and never use too much the combination with Tyler Sander, who is in 100% shape. And of course the big question mark is Italy, after being like 2 months training and with only two games prior to the competition against Argentina, which they won by the way. So yes, Brazil of course is a favorite in every tournament. They are favorites since 2001 in any major tournament. They are being the finalists since 2004 and never miss an Olympic final. So we can see that the question here is which or what team or which team can accompany Brazil into that semi-final, because I'm now projecting now the semi-final. There is no question that only a big error by Brazil uh, can take of the semi. So yes, Brazil is one of the favorites, no question about it.
One of the details is that they start with the two, let's say, easier matches, because they for sure they start with the easiest match against Tunisia, and then they will play their continental rivals from Argentina, and thereafter are the other matches against Russia, USA, and France. So let's. By the way, just to mention that in the beginning, I would say that in the group stage, a very important feature of the battle will be the schedule of the teams, because for sure is not very likable for the teams to play at 9 local time in the morning, or even in 11 local time. So that could be some kind of a problem, but I'm sure that they will take this into account and prepare accordingly. Let's go to the USA team. Ronnie mentioned that a bit, the lack of Aaron Russell due to injury, and how are going USA to line up, because probably Anderson is going to play as an opposite, and could DeFalco, with his very good, even not say great season in Vibo Valentia, can actually substitute Russell, and probably the other person playing as an outside hitter will be Taylor Sander.
I think that from the group of the outside hitters from the US, definitely DeFalco is more likely to be the starting along with Taylor Sander. The other two are Muserskiy and Muagu Tutia. The big question there is we've seen DeFalco all season long in Vibo Valencia, and he has huge up and downs even within the same game. So when will it be the moment to push? Will he be able to be consistent and help his teammates? That's the biggest question to me. On the other end, I don't think that you could rely too much on an entire tournament on Muserskiy, for example, to be the other outside hitter. And Muagu Tutia, I think, is there just as a fourth, third string, in case of maybe he will play against Tunisia or the weakest team.
Yes, definitely USA has a weaker, if you can say so, weaker squad than in 2016. There is no Aaron Russell or Ray Pretty, which already retires from volleyball, or at least indoor volleyball. But yes, it's a combination of youth. We have Ensing as a backup opposite, who will play in Italy, if I'm not mistaken, next season. And yeah, you have a good team. Like I say, they have 50% of chances to pass the quarterfinals, because like Italy, many people don't think that they are contenders, but this country have what I call it Olympic experience, and always manage some way or another to pass the quarterfinals, which is, for example, for teams like Poland, has been impossible since Beijing.
Yeah, I would mention here also that USA is a team which prepares always for the Olympics as their first horizon. They will start against France on 24th of July, on Saturday. So let's go to Russia, or the Russian Olympic Committee team, but we are going to call them Russia for the reasons of normality, let's say, for obvious reasons. Muserskiy, due to injury, is out, and this could, I would say that could create some Yeah, probably it's very interesting, at least for me, how are going they to line up, because I would say that the Pankov probably is going to start as a setter because he won everything with Dynamo Moscow this season, the last season. And Mikhailov, with his experience, is going to be the opposite with a great substitution like Viktor Poletaev. But from that on, probably Kluka and yeah, the middle blockers are also very interesting. Who of them is going to be chosen by the head coach Thomas Somerville?
I disagree on the setter selection because, as we all know, Kopsar will be the setter of St. Petersburg for the next season, and he was the starting setter in almost the entire BNL. So I really doubt, even if Pankov has better hands or talented gifted. Samuel will I think he will start with Kopsar, and this is a team that doesn't have anymore that experienced leader, because some people might think that Mihailo is that one, but he never stood like the leader of Russia. That paper was to Sergei Tefyukin, which is already retired, and he played his last game in Rio de Janeiro 5 years ago. So this is a new Russia with faces like Kliuka, who was in Rio, Volkov, the middle blockers. I'm not talking about Volbic. I'm talking about Kukaev and Yakolev. I didn't like the cut of Blasov because I think he did it well in the pro season. Maybe he's not that explosive or that
Quick.
quick blocker, quick blocker. But I think it could be it could give more from my perspective than Volbic. So maybe Volbic went to Tokyo because of the experience, and that could be a key factor. And yes, Russia overall for me is one of those teams that could make it into the semis easily. The thing is who will gonna face Russia in the quarterfinals, and if it's Poland or Italy, they could be in trouble. But I think they are pretty much, for me, the second team in this group. The first group will be Brazil. I put it in the second place.
You basically said it all. I mean, and I
Yeah.
agree with Ronnie. I also think that Kavzar will be the starting setter probably in the Olympics.
And Russia is another team which always prepares with a view to the Olympics. So it's going to be also very interesting. Even they have a little bit not that experienced team like in previous championships. Okay, let's go to France. What a little bit surprised me when I saw the French roster was the lack of Thibaut Rossard, who made also as De Falco a great season in Vibo Valentia, but another detailed look in the roster says it all, because instead of him is Yassine Ouati, who is actually a champion of Poland. So probably a champion of Poland trumps I don't know which place in fifth, sixth. I don't know. It's not a fifth because they were playoffs. So in Vibo Valentia. So probably that's a normal decisions with Tilik, Leveno, and Ngapeth, of course, the other three outside hitters. We talked several times about Tunuti Brizard being the best setter pair from all the from all the favorites in the VNL, but also in the Olympics. So this is going to be interesting moment. How they are going to be lined up. Of course, I believe that Tonio will start, but Brizard is a great substitutions could give a lot in changing the pace of the game, changing the style of the team. And I have a question: if somebody is able to answer to me, what happened with Kevin Leroux?
Well, Kevin Leroux had back problems since he played in Sale Cruzeiro the season after Simon and Leal departure, and that will be 2018-2019. Since that, his career has declining, and there are some rumors that he will retire soon, as his wife did. He played in the now disappeared team of Rennes before the disintegration of that organization, and then try this season to come back in Berlin, but it didn't go. It didn't go as he had planned. So, yeah, Kevin Leroux will be missing, but I think since 2017, the last World League, he wasn't the same. So that could be that could not that is a good a bad thing for France. But in the other hand, you have, like you say, good two good setters, an experienced one, of course, in Tonio and Brizard. My problem with France is the outside hitter position, because you never know how Ngapeth will enter into the court. Sometimes he wants to make the point and he attack badly, only on purpose. Sometimes he doesn't think too much in what the team needs and go YOLO. You only live once, for those who don't know what the term means, and get blocked, or he send the ball out. So that's one of the main problems that France had. They had it in the VNL, in the game of Brazil, and just best. But if he comes focused, maybe they have a chance. France is a team that, for me, could make it into the semis, but will be much harder, because I'm projecting that France will talk maybe third or fourth place. It will depend who is the rival, because if it is Italy, it will be a hard battle for them, because Italy plays the same style, technical reception, prioritizing the reception and the fundamentals. So it is true that in the last matches France always win over Italy, but we are talking about the Olympic Games, and France never I don't think ever make it into the semifinals. So let's see what they can do. The other thing is Jean Patry, very young opposite, and you can know what's going on with his mind, with his head. Because this is an important tournament, even bigger than the World Championship, and this will always be a problem for young players.
Yeah, I believe that neither of the two opposites of France are now in, let's say, are able to be compared with the best shape of Anthony Rosier, for example.
I think that Leroux won't be missing, because we all see how Chinenier has played in Italy in the past years, how much has improved this season with Vigo Valencia. So as middle blockers, they will be fine with him and Legoff probably starting. On the other end, the players who are at the first experience the Olympics could suffer it, but they also have an advantage to play without the crowd. So you got the pressure of the tournament, but you can still perform as you have been in the past year and a half without actually people putting you under pressure during the game. On the other hand, you say it would be a very good match to watch if Italy and France will meet in the quarterfinal. Let's hope it will end like in Rio, where Italy basically destroyed France in that was such a unexpected way that the face of Blengini looking at the score in the Jumbotron like that became a meme here in Italy, a meme. I don't know how you want to call it. That's so unexpected it was. But I think that France, I will put there a step ahead of the US. So probably I also think they will get third in the group. Or if Russia will not click, they could also sneak into the second position. But you know that the problem is not that group, but how will end the other group. So if Italy and Poland will take the first and the second place, or better, Poland the first and Italy the second, then whoever gets first or second, basically, I wouldn't say it's already in the semi-final, but it should be.
I would say that it's very probable that these three teams are going to have one win from their matches one against each other. So that's very probable for me at least. Okay, for Argentina, I'm not sure I have a lot to say. I'm a little bit surprised that Sanchez is the second setter after Luciano De Checo and not, for example, Cavana, but this is not that big of a surprise in enemies. And the last team in the group is Tunisia, and I'm not really excited about them having more than a set somewhere in the tournament, probably.
Yeah.
Well, Tunisia is a team that the only player that I know is Wassim Bentara. He will play. Well, he will play not. He plays in Poland in one of the worst teams. You can imagine what's going on with this team. A team that had prior to this competition cases of COVID, like 3, including in the staff roster. And about Argentina, well, Sanchez, why? Because Marcelo Mendes is looking now forward after the Olympics, that he knows that the Checo will retire, Conte will retire, and he is setting up the things for Paris. That doesn't mean that it will be hard to Argentina to qualify, because if they doesn't make it via World Cup, they always have the strong South American Championship, to get his ticket there. Of course, if Brazil qualify in the World Cup. Other thing that I want to mention about Argentina, this is a team that had his prime back in 2016, and this is why teams that are not physically gifted, like, I don't know, maybe Italy or Argentina, those kind of teams, look and what their prime pass over the 28, 20, 29, maybe 30 years. We have Conte with 32 years, and we have Pereira, who already I think he plays in some Arab country. This is a team also that doesn't have a pure opposite since the time of the great Milinkovic. So he has been a problem to find a Thaler or Sizer opposite, and you have Loser, which is a good middle blocker. He's good at reading block, but it's only 197. So at some point of his career, maybe before the 30 years, he will suffer to catch on the new generation. So, and that's why the middle blockers have to be at least 2-3 or something like that. So, and of course, now that I mentioned the size is another factor that Argentina doesn't have, and Italy, for example, don't have many, but they have more sizer players. So, and that's why Argentina always struggle at big competition, physical game and size game. They cannot perform. You cannot play defense only if you want to win championship, or let's say a skillful plays like Papi did or Conte like to do. You cannot win only with that. So at some point they're gonna ask you for more.
I only do not understand why Conte and De Cecco need to retire from the national team at 33 and 32.
It has to be with problems basically with their federation and the treat that they receive, maybe money that they doesn't pay and such like that. It's very common in Latin America. The bosses of the federation doesn't like to pay the players, and I think they are tired, of this situation. I think they already give 100% what they had to the national team since 2012. They already make it into 3 Olympics. So I think this is an era for Argentina that close. For me, I don't think they will continue. Maybe for the next year, maybe because the World Championship is not in 2 years, it's the next year. But I don't think they will go to Paris. That's my opinion.
Okay, probably here is the time also to mention the COVID impact. One thing is that there will be no spectators in the stands, but another thing is that each team has 2 substitutes. I'm not sure how they call them in the official rosters, but with all this COVID hype and problems and rising numbers in some countries, it's very probable that somebody is going to explode from some of the teams. At least, I hope that there won't be anyone, but it's very probable. So this is going to be another factor, because if someone from the bigger players, from the stars, from the very from players which have a lot of impact on the team's playing style or scoring, etc., is diagnosed with COVID, with a tournament of how many days? A little bit more than 2 weeks. He's not going to be able to play anymore in the tournament. So this is going to be a factor if it happens. I hope it won't happen, but this is also something which can be taken into account. So when talking about the teams, probably it was a good idea to check also who are the substitutes. But we can also do it this through the tournament if there are any reason to talk about it. I hope there won't be any. Let's go to the other group. The other group with Poland, Italy, Iran, Canada, Venezuela, and Japan, the hosts. Let's start with the obvious one, Poland. Poland had a very good VNL, but not great at the end, with a loss against Brazil in the final. Okay, they reached the final, but they also lost against France in the last match of the group stage. we talked about the Kubiak problem. What do you think about the team and the fact that, for example, Zatorski, due to injury, it was not sure until the last moment if he is going to play, to be there at least.
I think that we don't have surprises in the Polish team. I mean, basically, those are the guys that everyone expected to be in the Olympics, except maybe the Zatorski situation that was constantly monitored. I hope so by the Polish staff. Honestly, I don't think they will need or their power to win the group at the beginning. So whoever will play, and the only serious game they have will be the one against Italy, in my opinion, could build a momentum that then the Polish, who, as Ronnie said, has been a long time since they've been in a semi-final in the Olympics. It could be the momentum that will help them to overcome whoever comes fourth in the, let's call, group of death, the group B. So about Poland, in my opinion, it's exactly how we expected the team to be. If they reach another final, there's always that big question point about how the crazy Kubiak will perform, but I think they will be very happy to be there.
Well, Poland, what we can say about that team that you guys didn't say already? For me, it's not a bad thing losing versus Brazil because we all know the caliber of Brazil. That is a team that I think seven or eight Olympic champions will play again. And yes, they lose versus Russia. No, they won versus Russia, but they lose versus France. And at the end, I think one of the problems that they had in the VNL is that Heinen was, like I said before, testing all the players. You know, he hadn't a squad already in his mind like Brazil had, and that could be a key factor. And I think they will use the same players or almost the same players, at least for the first 4 games, to ensure the qualification at the first place, and then of course play in the quarterfinal. And since the main goal of this team is at least be in the final, I don't think that right now is the time of resting players. You know, Leon only played before the final like 5 games of the 15 or 16. So I don't put any excuse. He played the baddest game of his entire career, maybe in any national team in Cuba or Poland in the final versus Brazil. But right now, this is the tournament that he has been waiting since his debut in the Cuban national team. He never was in a senior Olympic game. He already won the young Olympic game medal, but this is it, and I think with him they can make it into the semi-final, and of course beat whoever goes there, and yes, or it could be the case that we all know are predicting that the final will be Poland and versus Brazil, but maybe Poland will face Brazil in the semi-finals. Who knows? Because you can expect the expected results in the Olympics. So it could happen too. Why not? Those 2 teams made in the semis before the final. So let's see. But for me, of course, they are the favorites to win the group and make it.
Probably to make the break here.
Yes.
Because with Italy coming, we are going to need more than 3 minutes, and also I'm hearing some strange
it's
side noise.
It's my fan that is very hot here, but
Okay.
this is
Okay.
So make the pause and
Okay.
you guys take water or something like that. And
Yeah. Okay. Here is
uh,
also very warm.
wait. So let's see. Okay. Well, we are back for the second half of this, let's say, learning podcast about volleyball. We already talked about the group of death, Group B, in the men tournament at Tokyo 2020 plus one, and we are now talking about the Group A. We already talked about Poland, which is a contender for the quarterfinals or maybe, who knows, the final. Now I think Bogdan is the time to talk about Italy, which is a team that for me has have a very mysterious game because we are only seeing two games against Argentina, and for me it wasn't the best of the game of them. So of day. So sorry them. Let's see what's going on with Italy.
I would say that the European champion in football, Nicola, is going to do the talking.
Okay. Well, it's been quite some moments after the list of Blengini that sparkled some controversy here in Italy, especially from those players who has been left off the 12-man list, especially from Daniele Mazzone and Filippo Lanza. They both obviously didn't agree with Blengini. They hope to be there in the Olympics, but the more, how can I say, controversial call probably is the one with Giri Kovar as a fourth outside hitter, along with Osmani Wantorena, Daniele Lavia, and Alessandro Micheletto, because actually he didn't play a lot with Lube this season, and that's exactly what Lanza was pointing out in his polemic post on Facebook, without directly call or spell Kovar's name, but he says something like, well, there are some that have played and some that haven't played, and I think that the ones that played should have been considered more than the one that didn't play. But I think that the reason is, well, Blengini knows Kovar very well. He has also trained him in the past 2 months in Civitanova. But having just one libero, I think that Blengini thought that Kovar could be an emergency call if something will ever happen to Max Colacci. On the other end, when it comes down to the...
Well, and I would... just to mention also, if you can answer this, was it also controversial Colacci instead of Balazzo?
Well, I think that that's a point that has been made before, especially also by Ronnie talking about the US and Russia. Those tournaments, I think that the experience has a big weight on the decision of how to pick what player to select. And actually, Balazzo had, for me, the best season of his career so far. But also, Colacci has been consistent. I mean, we can't say that Colacci had a bad season, and is also more used to this kind of tournaments. So whoever he would have called for me would be fine. And I think the major experience for Colacci in major tournaments made the difference at the end. It's pretty interesting, the three middle blockers choices, because we all know that Italy doesn't have that outstanding middle blockers, the world-class one like, I don't know, Simon, Lucao, or Muserskiy. So it basically had a group of good middle blockers from where Blengini could pick. And I think for the same reason of Colacci, Piano was selected as one of them. Then, of course, Anzani. And then the call of Galassi is something that surprised me a little bit, but I also like a lot, because Galassi had a pretty good VNL. Before he had a pretty good season with Monza. So I would have picked him over Mazzone, probably, because Mazzone didn't have such a great season. He improved his serving a lot, but when it comes down to the other aspect of the games, it wasn't the best season so far. There also a kind of, how can I say, conspiracy theory here in Italy that Blengini didn't call Ricci because he doesn't want him to build a chemistry with Giannelli, considering that the two will play together in Perugia next year. Probably that's gonna be a problem for Blengini's Lube. But also that's one of the things you can read online in forums or Twitters. On the general aspect of the team, as we've said many times before, we have to rely on the two old lions, Ivan Zaitsev and Osmani Wantorena, and by how they will be good or not, to me, will depend more the fortune of Italy. And it will be interesting also to see which player who will be the second outside hitter between Lavia and Micheletto. And I am really happy that he called Micheletto, because again, you have a group of outside hitter you could pick from, and I don't know, Recine, for example, could have been one of them. Lanz himself, if you want to add into the list. So who will be the second outside hitter? I think that Lavia will start, but in the process of the tournament, Micheletto will gain more time on the court.
Well, for me, okay, go on, Ronnie, sorry.
I will talk only about the guys that didn't make it versus the guy that make it. We are talking about Lanza versus Kovar. I think that it has to do with some similarities about Balazzo and why Colacci and not Balazzo. Kovar had the titles, but he didn't have the time of in court. Balazzo had the title, but doesn't have the experience. And let's be honest, Balazzo, with any other libero, Lube can get titles. It's not about the libero. We are not talking about you are good, you have good defense, but Colacci, for me, is a better libero right now. Maybe in 4 years he will not play anymore and retires before that. And of course, we are talking about Balazzo being the best libero in Italy, when those guys Rossini, Colacci retires from volleyball, and it's normal. It's normal. Everyone has his time in this sport. And about Kovar and Lanza, I will give the reason to Lanza why. Maybe he didn't win anything, but he played. He played in Monza, and he reached the final in France. Didn't win anything, but he played. He suffered. he trained a lot and not to be in the bench like Kovar did, because I think after the scandal of Kovar being with abuse of illegal substance, his career was like, look, this is what we have for you, take it or leave it. And I think he's a player that already give up in his aspiration of being, like a volleyball player that actually plays. He is now more like a key player, a role player. Go to receive because Guantorena have back pain, and for me that's the job of Kovar. Sorry. And of course, Nicola had a good argument there, saying that maybe if, I don't know, Kolashi injuries, which is, let's say, for a libero to injury is not so common, but it could happen in a training. Players get injury and such. But I think I would rather have 4 good outside hitters than 3 ones and one that only is good for receiving. Because I mean, Olympics are a tournament that is supposed to be for the best of the best. Right now, Italy has experimenting a generation change with the last tournament of Guantorena. Maybe Ivans too, who knows? And they need to look forward, and that's why I think Italy will not be that so strong in the next couple of years. Maybe before Paris or after Paris, they will have again a decent squad with Rinaldi, Micheletto, and those young promises. About Micheletto, well, he's the future, no doubt about it. Italy fans believe on him since he stepped up in that Super Cup, maybe before. But I think like happened in other teams, this is not a BNL, this is not Eurovolley or World Championship. This is the tournament that everyone want to play, and he's luck that he didn't get to play in Group B, because it will be more harder for him to play. So yes, I think Italy for me will be the second, and the match versus Poland will end 3-1 or maybe 3-2, but I don't think they have the deep to achieve the victory, because also the second game of Italy is versus Poland. Maybe if we're the last one or the fourth game, Poland is very tired to play with the starters. Maybe they want to make a bench move, which I don't think so, because they won the first play. Maybe, but it will be very, very hard to see Italy win over Poland. But it could happen. It happened 5 years ago. It could happen again. Sorry. No, not 5 years ago. Well, it happened 5 years ago versus France, and it could happen again.
Okay, let's make also my argument on these 3 issues. I would not say that Mazzone missing is a surprise for me. I don't think Mazzone is the most confident guy to play in such a tournament, and at least I'm not sure I like him as a whole. Galassi is not that of a name, but Monza is fourth in the championship in the league, so that's probably enough. At least, of course, it's about individual skills, but I believe that Galassi played a very good league and also a very good VNL. Secondly, about the liberos, I would surely say that Balazzo had a better season than Kouachi. And here the argument about experience probably is valid. So that is not big of an issue for me, but still a little bit of a question mark. And thirdly, Lanza against Kovar, this was total shock. I mean, Kovar could receive, but Kovar hasn't played as a regular for how many years in Lube? 3, 4, I don't know.
I think after he come back because of the scandal of doping. He never played again as a starter. So,
but even before, he wasn't a regular for Lube.
Yeah,
It's always been that kind of guy that is a second bar, third, that you don't know exactly how to define him.
I don't know. He probably played more in 2012. I don't know, but I don't understand this at all. Lanza played some great matches again in Monza during the whole Italian league. The last season, one of the matches was extremely good, I believe, against Vibo in the playoffs. Not sure, not 100% sure, but it's very strange. With Juan Torrena, Lanza, and Micheletto, I was not going to be that sure who is going to be the second one, but with Juan Torrena, Micheletto, and Lavia, I would say that Micheletto should start. Even 2 years, I believe, 2 or 3 years younger, Micheletto is the better player for me. Probably not that consistent, but Lavia is needed that consistent in Modena, and now he's going to be, I would say, a reserve, a substitute of Micheletto in Trento. The next season, probably I'm going to be wrong, but with Matej Kaziski, Micheletto, I would say that Lavia is going to be there also, the third choice for an outside hitter. Okay, the other 4 teams in the group are Iran. They will start again against Poland in their first match on Saturday. And Canada, Japan, the host, and Venezuela. Let's mention some words about them. Iran is, I would say that the young are attacking there, and the old players, let's say it in this way, are reducing in the team, but still we have Maruf there, Badipur, Gulami there, Musavi, of course. But some also new names, at least especially on the outside hitter position, but also the opposite position. And it's going to be interesting for me how they play. I believe that they'll qualify for the quarterfinals.
The problem with Iran was I don't think he was fired. He asked for leave, Igor Kolakovic, and they lose their coach for the entire cycle before the Olympic Games. Or, I mean, if they fired that, I don't think he didn't. That was a huge mistake, and the other mistake was hiring. Alegno, because we already know that Alegno is tired from volleyball. He don't want to know more, and they offer money, and when the only motivation of a man to work is money, shit happen, So literally, this squad with 2 liberos, Maruf. I believe this will be the last Olympic game of Maruf and Sayev, Musavi, and all those guys. I mean, it's not that even with Igor Kolakovic, Iran had a chance to make it into the semifinals, but it will be for sure a downgrade from Rio and 2019, which they have a great season in the BNL, making into the final 6 as the second or third country, but it's a team that has a future. Now the question is, who will be in the next years the man who will take control of the team? I think hiring Alegno was bad, and they will pay for what he did. I don't think any of those players deserve to have a bad Olympic Games only because the coach doesn't care. And I now see why Gaemi in his statement has
Exactly. I was to point it out it too.
has a little bit of reason, just a little bit, because Gaemi is a average player. I wouldn't say mediocre, but because he had some good games under the national team shirt, but he's no one. So if it was Mosabi to say that, maybe. And of course he was angry because he didn't was picked for the Olympic team, and this is understandable under that circumstances. So for me, Iran will battle. We will have a good battle with Japan and Canada, and I think those three teams are the same. So anyone could get the third or fourth place. It will be more harder to see now a clear team that pick fifth. Because it's not like in the Group B that we all know that Argentina and Tunisia are below the four that we mentioned. But for me, they are fourth. Let's say fourth.
Okay, Canada. They're going to be the participants in the first match of the men's tournament against Italy on
9 a.m.
9 a.m. local time. Awful. It's a 3 a.m. here and 2 a.m. in Italy. And so I have a little bit of a doubt that I'm going to watch this live. Sorry, Italy and Canada, but I'm sure that Nicole will do.
Yeah, probably it's one game, so that's a sacrifice that I will gladly do.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced about Canada. I mean, they have a core of players who have played abroad for some years now, so they're pretty experienced. They have some numbers. Personally, watching him play in Trento, I really like Nicolas Hogg for his attitude, for how he plays, and we all know Svark. For me, was one of the sensation in the past Superlega. So the middle blockers are pretty good, but they, especially during the VNL and the previous games, they leave me the idea that if they get under pressure, it's very difficult to them to overcome whatever is going to happen during the match and to try something different. Especially if you take into account that the opposite will probably be Vernon Evans as a starter, who basically hasn't played a game entirely from start to finish in Perugia this year.
A set even.
Probably a set, yeah. We'll have to check. Probably the last game when Perugia played with the bus driver and the guys who wrapped the tickets. So we'll see. I hope that Italy could get the whole 3 points against them in the first game, and then, as Ronnie said, it's one of those three teams that will battle for the third and the fourth place in Group A.
Yeah, in my notes I have about Canada in the shadow of the big brother, and also a bunch of good players, but no one great.
Exactly.
Would you agree with that?
And that's the main problem with Canada. They have an experienced squad, but they don't have great players.
Yeah, they have Perrin, they have Hope, they have Marr, they have Sanders.
And for the Canadians people that will watch this part, if a team like Cuba, which was almost a U23 team with Simon, took it till the 5 set in the qualification tournament, what can you expect of a team like that? and of course, like you mentioned, these are guys that are playing now like 10 seasons already, like Perrin and Hawk, but they never play in, at least for Perrin. He had an extent in Sala Cruzeiro, and his whole career has been in Russia and not in the top team. So you could also say that Hawk played in Perugia, but he only played as pinch server. He tried to make a career in Poland, didn't go well. So now he's in Turkey. Maybe now will play in the father's team, which is Arkas Izmir. And but overall, Canada has, like you say, decent middle blockers. Let's face it. They have taller middle blockers in Schwartz and Jansen Van Durm and those guys. I mean, the opposite is too young and is not regular. He never, in his entire career, he only played as a starter in Ravenna, because I mean, if you don't play starter at Ravenna, you are not for the Italian league. So yes, the libero is okay. Another problem with Canada, the setter, because TJ Sanders is no more because of the injuries. Now you have Brett Watch and Jay Blankenau, which is who are in that way, and of course the outside hitters, which for me is the main problem. None of them are regular in his game. No Mar, no Hawk, no Perrin, and are the players that are spend the most part of their career injured, so they are injury prone. So sorry, but I don't think that it will be. Maybe they make it in fourth place, but I didn't like what I see in the after Antigua departure and what has become Canada since 2017. And yes, and I think that's one of the reason. I think one of the reason is the injury of TJ Sander. He was a good, let's say, interesting player, setter, and since he got injured, Canada wasn't the same anymore. They still managed to qualify for the Olympics, but I think this will be, if Cuba doesn't mess up, I think they will not going to be in Paris 2024. Yeah, that's
maybe. Sorry.
Yeah, yes.
No, maybe Og should have called Lepke, considering that it's probably going to be the future outside hitter of Cuba.
He is in the team, Lepke? I think,
no, it's not.
Well, that you now you have it. I mean, Lepke play more volleyball in the VNL than Hawk, than Perry, and he is in the roster. So yes.
I'm looking at it on the F5UB site. So the outside is Perrin, Marshall, Og, Mar, and no Lepke. I would have taken him because, I mean, he would be the future of Canada. He would have got a good experience, especially if Canada didn't qualify for the quarterfinal. At least it would have played some good games with Italy, with Poland, with Iran and Japan.
Marshall had a good season in Chaumont in France. He made it into the final, and in the final he injured his abdominal. So and it was a serious injury because he didn't finish, and that's why they call Lanza to play in his position. And well, let's see what the future brings for Canada, but I think they might be out of this competition of the quarterfinals.
Okay, lastly, it's of course
The
Japan.
MVP, the MVP.
The future MVP of the tournament and Olympic champion Yuji Nishida.
It's incredible
Sorry that
how
I just was not able to not to say this. Okay, what do you expect from the hosts?
well.
Because they have Ishikawa, they have Nishida, they have the new star, the new kid on the block, Takahashi.
Fran Takahashi. Yeah. Well, I think Japan Federation of Volleyball paid FIB to make his advertising partner, because since the game will be held in Tokyo, International Federation, or what they call it now, Volleyball World, has been advertising over and over and over again this team, and they don't are even the best team in the competition. No, even top 5 or 7, something like that. But it's true that in the, let's say, last 2 years, or after the World Championship, with the arrival of Yuji Nishida, Japan has been, let's say, more harder to beat than before. We always look the game of Japan versus an European team, and we could expect at least 3-1 or 3-0. The routine game. Nobody watched those games unless like Nicola, who always watch when Italy plays. But for me, playing Cuba versus Japan, I watched the first set, and I already know that it's gonna be a 3-0. That changed with the arrival of Philip Blaine, the ex-coach of France, former national team coach of that country, and he is in the coach, the official coach, the head coach, but he gives the instruction in the technical times, and we all see that Japan has changed the way he played before. Less error, more rhythm, more regular. They beat Russia in the first week of the VNL, which is a great accomplishment, due the fact that Japan has an average height of 185 and Russia 2 meters. So and without Nishida, of course, you have guys like Ishikawa, who is always helpful. But in overall, Japan, like Argentina, don't have physical game and don't have size either. So it's very hard for them to compete with, like, let's say, Poland, Italy, or even Canada. But Canada doesn't have good reception. So that could be the key of Japan. Trying to make some pressure in the server line with Nishida, with Takahashi, and the other guys, and see what will happen. So yes, that's my prediction. I think they could make it in 4th place. It will be historical. We already know that Japan already won the Olympics in '72, a long time ago, when the volleyball was played by the monkeys. Sorry, but this is true. It was another different sport, another different system, and now let's see if they can make it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to the women's tournament probably for several minutes, just to mention. I believe that is going to be a great tournament there with Brazil, with USA, with Russia, with Italy, with Turkey, with China, of course, with Japan. Probably I missed something. Ronnie, probably you can start here.
Quickly, like it happened in the main, the B pool was the strongest, but in the men's section, 4 teams are the let's say the favorite 4 teams to qualify. Now you have
5.
even 5 teams. For me, the team that it will not make it will be the ROC, Russia. Russian Olympic Committee. Why? Because they are not that Russia team anymore that dominate a world championship or Grand Prix or something like that. Since the retirement of Sokolova and Gamova, they have been the same. Um, another problem is the retirement before the Olympics of Tatiana Kosheleva. I think he has to do with the coach. I don't know, because you just don't retire 1 month before the Olympics. Even if you are injured, you want to be in the Olympics because it will be the last time you have the chance to go a competition of that level. Some guys say that Lanza didn't go to the Olympics because he didn't agree to be the bench player and Micheletto was the starter. I don't think so. Even if I went to give only water to my teammates, I want to go to the Olympic Games, and I think that was one of the most controversial bullshit that I read in the last week.
And Ksenia Parobet is also missing due to injury for Russia.
So I think Russia will be the team that doesn't make it. On the other hand, you have a more easy pool. I think Brazil can take it, but I never let Serbia go away, even if Svetlana Velkovic is not on the roster because he was mother recently with Reko Lisinac. But Brazil is they have more games on his back. They play the VNL entirely with almost the same squad, and I think they will win the pool, but it will be very, let's say, I think Brazil will make it into the semifinals because I'm projecting that Turkey will be the fourth team in the pool B. But for me, I say right now, the main favorites to win this tournament are United States and China. It's difficult to see one team better than other because China didn't play with USA with all his strength. So let's remember that in VNL, Coach Lamping called the Super Six for the 4th and 5th week. They won all the matches, 3-1, 3-0. So, but it didn't make it to the semifinals. It could have been interesting if they play in the semis, but I think it's good that way to give the taste to the other teams to see what happened. And of course, they beat Brazil without the Super Six, so it's interesting China in this competition.
For me, also the US team is the favorite because of the fact that they have a very deep bench here. In my notes, I have that when you have players like Lauren Carlini and Megan Courtney out of the team, they didn't even make into the squad. This is so they have Thompson and Drews and Barch Heckley and Larson and Kimberly Hugh was a substitute in the final against Brazil in the VNL with Poster and Hancock on the setter position. So it's a very deep team in terms also what they have on the bench. It's very interesting for me. The Italy team, Italy has a great team with this absolute phenomenon as Paolo Egono, but I'm not sure because, for example, Serbia has Bošković and Mihajlović as players who can score a lot, and in these terms, Italy has only Egono. I'm not sure that Caterina Busetti and Miriam Sierra are the players who can score a lot in order to be more even in terms of points with Egono. And I think that this could hurt Italy's chances because Egono cannot win alone. I also believe that Turkey will be probably fourth and maybe even fifth in the. It's a little bit like Canada, very good players, not that great. Probably the Black Wolf Karakurt be a great player, but I'm not sure she's that consistent for now. So this is for me, and also of course China with the Iron Hammerland pin is going to be a favorite, but I'm putting them on second place after the US team.
And shooting will be the flag bearer of China, which give more importance to that medal if they achieve.
Okay, probably that was enough. One fast prediction for the men and the women Olympic champion. I'm saying Brazil in men and US team in women.
Poland in men, and United States in women.
Nicola?
Well, I think Brazil in men, whoever you say in women.
Okay, that was enough for today. I hope you enjoyed this very long podcast preview about the Olympic Games. I would suggest that we make one episode in the after the group phase, and that was it for today.
Thank
I
you.
hope you enjoy, and bye bye. See you. Listen to us the next time. Follow us in all the networks, and that was all for today. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.